do it. Like Coach said, great cover, bust. That's it. From right now, every day, we show up. Let's go, baby. Come on. Count down 3. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Bomber video. We got the Bombers defeating the Edmonton Elks 28-14. Bombers back to winning after whatever last week was. Did this game have its problems? Yes. Honestly, at this point, I'm just happy we won. I'm happy we won. We seemed to get it kind of figured out near the end of the game. There was a lot to talk about, but first things first. Kenny Lawler is back. It's great to see him back. He had a few really, really nice plays. I would like to see us go for that Kenny Lawler long ball that he's known for, but I think they wanted to kind of start by easing him back into it a little bit. And he played great in his first game back. You know, it's one of those things where when you have a guy that's out of action for a bit, it's on one hand, he's all rested up. You're not worried in that regard. But then in the same sense, you got to get used to being at a game speed again. And Lawler fit in really, really well right away. Even though the Bombers didn't try to test him too much, he did well. But let's go into the first quarter here. We would drive and go for it on third. We would come up short, turnover on downs. A bit unusual. As typically those 3rd and 1s, we get those. But we had a little bit of trouble with that today for some reason. But we eventually would figure it out. And then Caleros on the second drive, his first throw of that second drive threw a pick. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is not a good start. Jeff Coat has Cornelius and lost him. Cornelius runs for the touchdown. Jeff Coat's got to have that. Although, to be fair, Jeff Coat put himself in that position to even get there. So it's one of those things where it's really important, though, with your outside D linemen that they do have contained. So it's one of those things where I love the fact that Jeff Coat, goes for it and he tries to get that sack, but just got to get a little bit more of a grip and get that down. But Jeff Coat really had a really good game. I will say that. Jeff Coat had probably one of the strongest games for us. And then an unlikely interception would come as defensive lineman Lawson gets himself an interception.
Get to him.
Yeah, you heard me right. Defensive lineman Lawson gets an interception. I just thought that was hilarious. And I was like, if that's not a Chris Jones moment, I don't know what it is. Our quarterback doesn't just throw picks. He throws picks to linemen. That is something. The Elks would get an offside penalty. The Bombers would march down the field, and Dakota Prukop would get himself a touchdown.
Yes, he got it. No question. Nicely done.
Dakota Prukop gets himself the touchdown. Castillo misses the convert here. 6-0 Winnipeg. So, unusual for Castillo, but he does miss that. Caleros gets sacked. Elks would get themselves a 20-yard field goal. It is good. 6-3 for the Bombers. We would fail again in short yardage, turnover on downs. At this point, I'm starting to get a little concerned because, we're screwing up the easy things. We missed the convert. We failed in short yardage twice on 3 and 1. We gotta get those. However, one thing that also happened was Walker Jr. got himself a sack.
Got him! Yeah! Let's go!
Sack for Walker Jr. Nice play. Elks would get themselves a 30-yard field goal, ties the game 6-6. Elks would take an illegal contact on the receiver penalty. We would be going down. Winnipeg takes a holding penalty, and then Castillo misses the field goal, his first time this year, and he breaks his streak, which I believe was over 20 kicks, field goal kicks consecutive. Breaks his streak though, resets that, and we would be tied 6-6 going into half. And so that was my problem. Was not that we played egregiously bad, but We should not be tied with the Elks going to half. We should have a 2-touchdown lead. Seriously, going into half. This is the Elks. I don't care that even though they're losing all these games, a lot of times they're making it somewhat competitive. I don't care. I'm not the Elks. I'm not like, if I'm the Elks, I'm like, yeah, I put up 14 points. But it's like, if I'm the Bombers, sorry, I want to run this team over. Like, this is a team that is not accomplishing anything. Anything. I don't even, like Edmonton is now 0-7. They don't have a win. Beating them isn't enough. And so it's one of those things where, like, as much as I'm taking this win, this isn't that reassuring in the sense of I don't see all the solutions to the problems that we've been having, but it is what it is. By the way, I forgot to mention that Liam Dobson was playing for Jeff Gray in this game. He was playing on the offensive line in the slot of Jeff Gray. I thought that was the right decision. But let's go into the third quarter. So the Bombers would drive the field. Castillo would hit himself a 46-yard field goal, 9-6 Winnipeg. It really looks at this point like Castillo, had those little hiccups earlier in the game, but he's finally back in form. And who else is back in form? Nick Dembski, as he runs down the middle, gets a beautiful catch for a 70-yard touchdown.
Oh, it's good. Okay.
No.
Oh, go, 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 go! Go! Go, 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 go! He's got it! Woo! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Woo!
Dembski gets the touchdown. Convert is good this time, 16-7 Winnipeg. Elks would take a holding penalty. However, they would follow it up with a touchdown of their own. Touchdown for the Elks. Convert is good, 16-14 for the Bombers, which I was like, damn, like we just got this good lead. And I say good lead in terms of over a touchdown and not under a touchdown, but we immediately gave it up. Caleros would get sacked. There would be a holding penalty against us. And this is actually one of the few times where I'm actually going to blame Zach Caleros on this holding penalty, not the offensive line. And I know what you're thinking. What? But the offensive line, he's holding him there. And it's yes, but the thing is that as an offensive lineman, you don't have that D lineman is going to go where that D lineman is trying to go. You got to try your absolute best to keep him straight. It's very difficult. Yes, when a guy's like 300 pounds and you're trying to keep all that weight in one exact spot, let alone not trying to get to your quarterback, but try to actually keep him straight and not have him go like this. Because the second you lose him onto the side here, that's when this starts happening and your hands start moving as he's moving past, and that's when you get holding penalties. So Zach Caleros goes to scramble here, and I don't have a problem with Zach Caleros scrambling. As an O-lineman, you're expecting that your quarterback scrambles, and you have to adjust to that. The problem is that Zach Caleros does way too much adjusting here. He has to decide whether he's throwing from the pocket, he's running left or running right, or unless he runs straight, but he wasn't running straight there. Running left or running right. Because the thing is that if I see that he's running left, I'm like, okay, I know I need to step in front and get the block here. But the problem is then, if Zach Caleros changes his mind and runs to the right, I lose my block. That's a holding penalty. And that's all because Zach's got to be a little more decisive here, because in the sense of you as much as, it's the O-line getting the holding penalty there, you absolutely put them in that position for them to get that penalty. So it's one of those things where as a quarterback, if you're running left, you're running left. If you're running right, you're running right. You kind of have to make up your mind there. So a little bit of a nitpick there on Zach Caleros. It's one of those things where as a quarterback, I wouldn't be surprised if he just wasn't fully aware of it. But he kind of made it impossible for the O-lineman to not take a holding penalty there. So I'm not mad about them with that. It is what it is. At this point, I get a little bit worried as I see Dalton Schoen leaves the game. I see him walk off right in front of me. I'm like, that's not good. And then, but we would have a really, really nice punt. Good punt by Sheehan. And it would touch the guy's hands, but he wouldn't catch it right away. And then he would get it afterwards, and we would immediately shut that play down right then and there. Elks would take a procedure penalty. There would be an intentional grounding against Cornelius. We're putting all kinds of pressure on. We would get a touchback, 2 points to the Bombers, 18-14 Winnipeg. Great defensive plays there. Seriously. This is when that was shut down defense. Cornelius got nothing that play. And we would have really good defense for the rest of this game. I was very impressed at the very end of this game, the way our defense was able to play. Sergio Castillo would get himself a field goal. It is good, 21-14 Winnipeg. We would go into the fourth quarter. The Bombers would push. There'd be a great run by Brady Oliveira, and Rasheed Bailey gets himself a touchdown. Here we go. Bailey gets the touchdown. Convert is good, 28-14 for the Bombers. We would get a roughing the passer penalty. Elks would go on they would go for it on third down, and they would fail. Turnover on downs, Bomber ball. We would march it back a bit. Edmonton regains control. And at this point, the Bombers play the most shutdown defense I have seen all year as Jackson Jeffcoat gets himself a sack.
Get to him! Get him! Yeah! Woo!
And immediately after Jackson Jeffcoat gets a sack, you could actually see that Taylor Cornelius is limping back to the huddle. I'm like, oh boy, he gets him there. However, the very next play, Willie Jefferson gets himself a sack. Jackson Jeffcoat gets that sack. Willie Jefferson follows up with another sack. Cornelius is limping even more now. And then on the final play for the Elks, Taylor Cornelius throws that up, and those glorious hands, they're DeMario Houston's, of course, gets the interception.
Get him again! DeMario Houston! DeMario Houston! DeMario Houston! Woo! There he is! There's the boy!
Wow, what a season for DeMario Houston. And he continues that with another interception tonight at the end of this game. And then the Bombers would kneel that and kill all the time out. Bombers win against the Edmonton Elks. So overall thoughts on this game? We've played so many half games this year. It's kind of crazy. It's one of those things where it's like, this team could be so dangerous if we could play a full 60. The problem is that I have not seen a full 60. Nope, not this year. I haven't seen a single game where we have played a full 60. So it's one of those things where, we're going to have games coming up where we're going to be playing against BC. We're going to be playing against all these better opponents, Toronto. We're going to need to be able to play a full 60. So I'm happy that we were able to have that good finish. But we need to have that from the start and continue that the whole way through. We had that in the start against the Red Blacks that went straight to shit. We had a bad start tonight. And I consider tied with Edmonton bad. I do, because it's Edmonton. Again, it should not be tied. It is Edmonton. We have to remember, we can't lower our standards because we're playing against a team that's not as good. We can't. Can't be like, whoa, we're not losing. It's like, no, we're playing against the flippin' Elks. No. So it's one of those things where I want to see a full 60 from this Bombers. I haven't seen it yet. I think we can see it. I think we will at some point. I would rather that come sooner or later, though. Let me know what you guys thought of tonight's game in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys subscribe if you have not. Subscribe to CFL Central for CFL league-wide content, and I will see you guys next time.